There is a channel, Professor Dave Explains. Many of you, of course, know him. He posted this video 7 days ago. Now, this is a response to many content creators who have, over the years, called out the fact that he is toxic. Now, given that's not the only thing that people say about him, people call him all sorts of stuff. And, you know, I think it's fine that he defends or strikes back. But when it comes to me, I did make a video about him, so that's why I'm included in this, whatever the heck you want to call it, in this disgrace of a video. To be specific, I'm included on 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 51 seconds in, which is where we're gonna begin. I did say that he's toxic, and I said that he's angry. That's it. I was actually quite mild on my presentation, particularly if you compare it to how I have addressed other creators in the space. I didn't call him names. I didn't say he was an idiot or stupid or ignorant or whatever the heck litany of insults that he instead normally uses to the people who disagree with him. That I just said, guys, I don't know, the way he speaks is very toxic, even in the comments, how he looks down on people, kind of puts me off. That's all I said, but apparently it was sufficient for him to lose sleep. I really hurt his feelings, I suppose. Anyways, he included me in here. I think I really want to start by saying this. So from a logical standpoint, this were you. Then you're annoyed that people call you toxic and you want to debunk all of them. You want to prove them all wrong. How would you be on the video you make? You would be polite, right? Because if I say Professor Dave is toxic and then he makes a video and he's polite, he just attacks my arguments. No ad hominem attacks. I would have to apologize then now, wouldn't I? I have to apologize, guys. I apologize profusely. I was wrong. He was very civil. Because, I mean, if he wants to debunk people who call him toxic and makes a video and he acts toxic, wouldn't it follow reason then that we are all correct about you? We're going to see how many times this guy insults me on this video. And you know me, I don't like insulting people, but once you start insulting me, I'll give him a 5 insults head start, after which I'll start insulting back. Because at the end of the day, I am still a Sicilian, so that's what we do. On this video, there will be 3 major sections. The first section is the one where we will demonstrate without any shadow of a doubt that Professor Dave doesn't do any research when it comes to the people he attacks. So he will call you names. He will say, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, scientifically illiterate, you don't know anything. He will use all sorts of insults, but he doesn't research you. He will make statements about me, but all of those statements will be factually wrong. And for those of you who watch me, you will know it immediately. The moment he says something, be like, no way. Didn't even do any research before making statements. So that's one thing. Kind of hurts his credibility when he makes statements as if they are fact, but then they are factually wrong because he didn't even look into it. We will also demonstrate that he doesn't do any research when it comes to the subject matters that he addresses from an academic standpoint. Then section 2, I'll demonstrate that he lies, that he uses selective editing to manipulate his audience perception. So once again, how much can you trust him after I prove to you that he selectively, conveniently cut out the part where I would have proved him wrong? The major part is going to be section 3, but because it is important to me that as many people as possible see what I'm about to show you, which is a smoking gun, guys, you have no idea what I found. You have no idea. I'm actually going to move section 3 before section 2. Section 3, he says that I lied about something, and then he uses that premise to come to a conclusion. He will say, so this is why he did this. I've got receipts. I came prepared, and I will demonstrate he was wrong. And I really, really strongly suggest you to watch until that part at least. The science communicator, Professor Dave.
Continuing with this concept of defending cults, here's another douchebag named Metatron.
I find it funny that he says that I defend cults, but to his credit, I do have the long hair of a cultist leader, so I'll let that one slip.
Lashing out at me with another Professor Dave is toxic video. Shall we see if this tool has anything new to add?
Yeah. The 2 major issues that I have with... Remember this. You know how I said 2 major issues that I have? He chose to show this and cut what happened 3 seconds before because he then needed to lie about me. Keep this in mind, we'll come back to this. The 2 major issues that I have with the presenter of this channel, Professor Dave, are the following. 1, the overall aggressive nature of some of his videos. Today we're going to watch one of these. And 2, the overall attitude that he seems to have in the comment section under his videos, particularly towards those people that appear to disagree with him. Now, given to his credit, some of his commentators that he responds to are rude to him. However, I get those too. And I'm not trying to say that I am better than him or anything. I'm just saying I've never seen anyone literally spent who knows what amount of time insulting people and talking down to people in the comment section. And he also does it sometimes unfairly to people that were just pointing out maybe something they didn't like, or perhaps they didn't understand something.
Nope, I absolutely do not insult people who point out that they didn't understand something or asked an innocuous question.
We'll get back to this.
You're lying. That's why you removed all context from...
I did not remove all context from this. If you remember, we can rewind it 3 seconds if you want, but we just watched it. I specifically said, given to his credit, many of the people that he insults, they were rude to him first. That is precisely what context is. I gave context, and all I said is that sometimes some people just ask a legitimate question or just say they didn't like the video, and he lashes out onto them too. But I did give context. I exactly gave that context. So what is the context that I didn't give, Professor Dave?
You're lying. That's why you removed all context from almost every single comment you showed. All of these people I'm responding to are pathetic trolls whining about a video they didn't watch and spewing vitriol at me about the video.
I gave that context.
Because it hurts their feelings that I expose a fraud they fell for on the internet. Every time.
Right.
All of you cry-bully snowflakes that make these videos or complain about me on Reddit have yet to
on Reddit? Me on Reddit? Man, I think I'm already establishing the fact that this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about, right? If he thinks that I am on Reddit. If I set foot on Reddit, I would be set on fire. I would become a flame ablazed immediately. Holy moly on Reddit. Whatever. Anyways, the statement he made was very important here because I can already debunking that. That's going to be the first.
Have yet to show a single solitary example of someone who politely brought up good faith legitimate criticism only for me to reply in this manner. You can't show a single example because you don't have one.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Let's do it. This is a debate that he had live with James Tour, and it's going to show exactly that, the thing that he says he never does. Moreover, it does happen in his comment section too, and I will, since I said challenge accepted, review all of his comments in the next few days, maybe give me a couple of weeks, to find those. Problem is he deletes a lot of them. So you will find comments, even here, there will be comments. I had an argument with Dave in the comment section once. He called me dumb and gullible, so I gave him evidence. He then deleted the thread. So there are a lot of people that say he deletes. Of course, it's not going to be easy to find those, but I'll still find them because he has so many, and I've seen them myself. But let's have a look at this. So this is a debate. He went to this location to debate this guy on chemistry. There are a lot of people who actually went there to listen to him, and to kind of make their mind, right? Well, let's see how he treats these people. Someone has a question, someone has a polite disagreement, or maybe someone just agrees with the other speaker, doesn't even say anything against him. He only does it when there is vitriol and rudeness towards him, right? Okay, timestamp 1:14. Let's see how he treats the audience.
None of you people know this research. Wow. Lies and cheers. Amazing. Lies and cheers.
None of you people know this research because they're agreeing with the other speaker. Minute 1:24.
That 2' linkages don't matter. As though you people have any fucking clue what any of us are talking about. Oh, I know about RNA. No, you don't.
How do you know they don't know about RNA, by the way? So he's here now looking down, just like I said he was, on the people that actually paid, took their time, drove there to listen to this debate. He's treating them like they're below him. Yes, there were a couple of boos, but I didn't see anyone saying, "You're an idiot." I didn't see that.
You have no clue what either of us are saying. Deal with it.
And they say, get to the question. 1:52. Check this out.
I don't care what any of you guys are saying. None of you...
I don't care what any of you guys are saying. Man, I thought you were okay with people asking questions or if they didn't understand something. He just said he doesn't care what any of the people are saying. Let's continue. I'm not done. Let's go.
I don't care what any of you guys are saying. None of you have any capacity to read this literature. And
None of you has any capacity to read this literature. Brother, you have a bachelor's degree in chemistry. You don't have 5 PhDs. You're not the smartest guy in the room.
You're just blindly believing James. You have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, James.
2:43.
You people are idiots.
You people are idiots, is how he's treating the audience. All right. Is that enough, Dave, to prove that you absolutely do, in fact, what you claimed you don't do, that I wasn't going to be able to find this? And he does this in the comment section all the time. I think you've seen nothing, by the way.
Because this is not legitimate criticism. This is clickbait, and you're trying to make your case appear more credible. But I'll save you the suspense.
All right, now we enter the section where we're going to demonstrate that Professor Dave, when he makes statements about people, he hasn't researched them one bit. Because there you go. Now he's going to character assassination attempt, and he's going to try and undermine my argument by telling his audience, look at this tool. Look at this guy. All right, let's see what he says about me, and let's see if it checks out. If it's a real criticism, I'll take it. He could say, Metatron is condescending. I'll accept it. It's fine. I am a little arrogant sometimes. I know something I need to work on.
But I'll save you the suspense. Metatron makes shitty archaeology content.
Metatron makes shitty archaeology content. I'm sorry, what? Wait. So, hold on a minute. All right. Had you done any research, and I'm going to keep continuing using this word research, and you'll see why, because he's going to say something in a second. Had you done any research on my channel, you would have known that out of 1,000 videos, probably like 12 are about archaeology. The vast majority of my content is about history and culture, with some videos on linguistics, languages, Latin, a little bit of video game, and occasional politics. I'm a little bit of a variety channel, one could say, particularly in the latest, and then a few React videos. I'm not a channel that makes shitty archaeological... Well, shitty is, I guess, is his own opinion. I can take that, fine, I don't care. But I'm not an archaeology channel. What are you on about? So that already... that you don't even know. I know what kind of videos he makes. I looked into him. He has a lot of videos debunking this guy's a fraud and this guy's a liar. He does all of those character assassination videos, which are the ones that get him money and views. Then he has video tutorials on Latin. I looked into them. I'll make a couple of dedicated videos because the guy has zero phonetic training and his Latin pronunciation is terrible. So we'll look into that. He has got a few videos on Italian. I haven't watched those yet. We'll see. And then he has got videos on chemistry, obviously. And then he has videos on Trump, how dumb Christians are. He's got videos against conservatives. He's got videos that, to own the chuds. That's his channel, etc. He's got videos on transgender, biology and whatnot. That's what he does. I can name the type of content he does. He doesn't even know I'm a history-focused channel. But check this out. That's the first thing he says about me. Ready for the second one. It's going to be great.
Alongside Cookie Cutter Own the Libs videos, and he's butthurt that I exposed the godfather of the pseudo-archaeology cult, Graham Hancock.
Okay, so I do Cookie Cutter Own the Libs videos. Once again, this guy hasn't researched me for 15 minutes. Because while it is true, I do make videos where I debunk radical leftist nonsense. Absolutely I do. And you make videos on own the Christian chuds. So at the end of the day, why is he saying this? Virtue signaling to his radical left audience that then will say, oh, Metatron does own the libs. That's what it is. Obviously, it's virtue signaling. Had he actually done honest research, which people like him never do, he would have known that I have over the years made videos to debunk both sides when it comes to history. I've done it. I can prove it. I've proven it so many times, but these people don't care about that. If someone said nonsense, I debunk it. I don't care if we have the same politics, or if we are both Christians, or if you're an atheist and I'm a Christian. But people like him, they don't look into you before they make statements about you. But I loved the third one, because he says that I'm butthurt that he debunked, I guess, my overlord, Graham Hancock. And this once again proves to you without any shadow of a doubt that this guy makes statements about people, including me, without researching, because I disagree with Graham Hancock. Anyone who had spent 5 minutes into clicking any of the videos where the face of Mr. Hancock is on my channel knows that every time I say, hey, the theory is fascinating, but he hasn't convinced me, I don't believe it, I don't think it's true, I don't believe it, I say it all the time. So what's funny is that we actually agree. It's just that because I don't put words like Hancock is a liar, is a fraud, is a clown, is an idiot. I don't do that because I like being polite. So I will attack the argument when it comes to Hancock. But I prefer being polite about it. Then he looks at the thumbnail and thinks that I'm someone who actually believes or supports or pushes Graham Hancock's theory when it comes to the global civilization that happened. And then there was that's insane. How can someone make a statement like that, saying that I am somehow a supporter of Hancock? It means he didn't research me. I wanted to keep this in mind. If he makes so many wrong statements about me, can you really trust him when he makes statements about other people? If you're someone in his audience and you watch him and you're like, oh, he's calling this guy a racist, is he? He's calling this guy a bigot, is he? He's calling this guy a white supremacist, a radical, a crazy, someone, an illiterate, scientific illiterate. Can we trust anything that comes from his mouth at this point, after he has clearly demonstrated he didn't research 1 second of what my content is, where I stand when it comes to these issues?
And I'm able to do this by referencing a mountain of research performed by the global scientific community that proves them wrong. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research.
Okay, he's not self-admitted. This is a confession. This is a confession we've got here, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't do research. Well, I noticed that when it comes to me. You never researched anything and spewed all sorts of poisonous vomit with the arrogance and confidence, though, so that, as I say, he doesn't research people. He doesn't research people. Huge cell phone. He doesn't research people, we know. But now he also stated that he doesn't research the subjects that he... So, if you think for any second, no, but I watched a video of his and the information was good. Exactly. It's not his. He's parroting what someone else says. He doesn't do the research. Cell phone. We still haven't got to the best part. When he's a science communicator, he says, and then he helps the public see who is lying. And then we'll connect to the strongest argument, the smoking gun. And then I want to see if people are still going to believe him. At that point, I don't know, you're in a cult. Because I'm going to prove it right now. Let's go.
I'm referencing research because I'm a science communicator. It's my job to use science to show the public who is lying about science.
Okay, so this is the part where we connect now to, we need to go a little further, and we're going to 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 26 seconds. You're not going to believe your eyes. You're not going to believe your eyes right now. You're going to be like, I can't believe that you annihilated him like this. And I'm like, I know. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. Did you just hear it? What's his job as a science communicator? We'll get back on that self-title. His job is to tell the public who is lying about science. My question is, how can you do that correctly and figure out who is lying? If you call someone a liar, if you point the finger and say, this is a lie, but then you were wrong. What else are you wrong then about? This is the part where he now accuses me of lying. Check this out.
You need to spend a good amount of time here, so let's dive in.
Okay, I need to stop it here because I always get... So I used to get claimed by Rogan. Maybe I wouldn't get claimed now because I told you I think he did whitelist me.
And that's where he bows out, claiming something about copyright, which is total bullshit.
Okay, so what I claimed about copyright, I said... I could get copyright claimed by Joe Rogan if I keep watching his video, which features Joe Rogan and with the Flint Dibble Hancock interview. So I'm going to have to stop. He says, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. So I lied. All right. Let's see on the basis of what. Let's see how he defends that.
Claiming something about copyright, which is total bullshit, since my video that shows huge portions of multiple Rogan episodes is fully monetized. He stops the video at 11 minutes 20 seconds out of a 2-hour video, which means he only covers me setting up the relevant context for the video and then stops. All he did was whine and nitpick about totally irrelevant bullshit, and he stopped before the hour plus of me proving that Graham is a fraud. Pretty fucking convenient, isn't it?
Okay, so this is the best part. I can't wait to show you. First and foremost, how does he prove that what I said was bullshit?
Just total. Since my video...
Because his video didn't get copy claimed. Had you done research once in your life, Professor Dave, you would have known that differently from your video, my video about you that you watched was an extract from a stream. Because you can see that I'm interacting with chat. Just like today, this is going to get edited and then it will be uploaded. When I said that, I was live streaming. So what that means is that the fact that you didn't get copy claimed on a regular upload, which by the way, I do sometimes anyways, but it's irrelevant. It's not this, oh, I just proved him wrong. It's irrelevant because I was live. You would have known that had you done research. Is it bullshit though? Well, no, it's not. And I have proof. So this is the live. I found the exact seconds to prove it to all of you. This is the stream. So I was reacting to that specific interview. It's another stream that happened before. Family. Stream suspended again. Oh. Stream suspended again. Did you hear me? Stream suspended again. Okay, well, I think I'm not going to have to continue this on YouTube. Yeah, you'll look! Proof on screen, ladies and gentlemen. He said this is bullshit. Not only said that this... Look, read it. I actually showed the internals on YouTube. I was reacting to that specific interview Look at the chat on the right. Again, it's doing all this. Again, question mark. It's like so many people are clearly showing stream suspended again. So this is proof. And you can read in yellow the system telling me, error, your stream has been temporarily blocked because we detected video belonging to someone else, right? And you can keep reading. If you plan to continue, please ensure that the content owner has added your channel to their allow list, which is exactly what I said. I said, did he add me to the white list, Joe Rogan? I don't know. So I better stop this stream right now. He said, this doesn't happen. I just proved it to you. This is proof, Professor Dave. This is proof. And not only said that this was bullshit, but then he used this foundational premise. Oh, Metatron said he's stopping the live stream because of copyright claim, but that's bullshit. No. The reality is, so that was his conclusion. The conclusion was, the reality is that I was about to debunk Hancock and he didn't want me to. That's why he used this excuse of suspending the stream getting suspended. But here's the problem, Professor Dave. Even in the most basic rudimentary form of logics, if your premise is faulty, so shall be your conclusion. So your conclusion is a castle of cards that you have built on something that you perceive to be a lie, and because you consider yourself to be the ultimate authority on who's lying and who is not, you thought confidently that you had owned me with that one. But now I proved you wrong. So what are you going to do about it? Two options. This is my challenge now. Two options. Option number one. You can admit fault. I mean, he has a gigantic ego, so it's not like I'm expecting that to happen. But let's say that he does do it. And he says, you know what? I hate Metatron. He's an awful bigot, far right, whatever you want. But on this one, he was right and I was wrong. If he does that, it's a little bit of a double-edged blade because he said that his job as a science communicator is to tell the public who is lying. Given, he said, tell the public who is lying about science, that's even harder. If you can't do that here on something so basic that requires almost no research, just a little bit of research, if you fail to do this here, then what else that you call a lie? And who else that you have called a liar so confidently and arrogantly, may I add, wasn't actually lying? That's what happens if you admit it. And if you don't admit it, you know what? Metatron was right. He proved receipts. He proved it on screen. I was wrong. If you don't say that, then we have to beg the question, what else does he not admit that he called it a lie? There was proof, but he ignored it because he has too much of an ego. You know what I call that, Dave? Davide? I call it checkmate. Let's get back. Listen to this now, because this is a word and it will come back.
And he's going to whine about the fact that I did that for 40 minutes.
To be clear, Graham is not an archaeologist. He has a bachelor's degree in sociology, which does not even remotely qualify him to challenge well-established archaeological knowledge. He's never been on a dig.
Interesting. What is Professor Dave's academic background, though? Because he has a bachelor in chemistry. I'll double check, but if that's true, then wouldn't that apply to him as well?
Yep. No, dumbass, it doesn't apply.
That was like insult number 4, I think, or 5, is it? Or I'll give him one more and then I'll start. Okay, so my critique here was that he says that Hancock doesn't have a degree in archaeology, and so he shouldn't talk or disagree with archaeologists. That's exactly what he said. So I said, but you have a degree in chemistry, a bachelor's degree in chemistry, so how can you then talk about archaeology? It's really not that weird of a statement to say. But he says that doesn't apply to him. Let's see why.
To me, because I'm not the one spewing propaganda that contradicts and slanders the entire archaeological community. That someone doesn't have any experience in archaeology is only relevant if that person is mouthing off about how archaeologists are all closed-minded idiots who don't actually do any real science.
Okay, cool. So it's actually worse the way he presented this, because initially I was going to say he's a hypocrite because he says if you don't have the degree, you can't talk about this thing. No, he says Hancock shouldn't do it because he slanders people and calls them stupid and imbeciles, but that's exactly what you do. You slander people and call them all sorts of names. So even more so then, if we were to apply your own rigor onto your own persona, then you are absolutely disqualified then. I personally think anyone should be able to call out anyone. I don't have a problem with that. But he says, no, when it's me, it's fine. even though he's doing the exact same thing. Let's continue.
It doesn't apply if you're someone like me who simply shares well-substantiated introductory information about a field, be it archaeology or any other, which was specifically curated in conjunction with experts in that field who are always credited in the description sections of tutorials they contributed to. Got it?
Okay, got it? Okay, he's going to make a statement. We're going to use this. You know how many times I mentioned the word research? You'll see why. Personally, I think you can challenge. I challenge oftentimes massive professors, even though they, in theory, are the experts, but they're pushing politics, they're pushing messages, they're twisting the truth, they're doing stuff for stupid reasons. And so at that point, it doesn't matter. Anyone can challenge them.
What are these stupid things, I wonder?
I just said it. They twist the truth. I just said it.
Are the politics they are pushing? Let me guess, pronouns in the Twitter bio or some dumb shit like that?
I do agree that pronouns in the bio is dumb shit. I do agree with that. But no, I actually said it. I said when they twist the truth. Now, if you want to know specifically what that means, you know what you could do, Professor Dave? Research. Check this wording now. Academia used to have the complete last say on everything, but now we have the internet and people can do research. And when it's one professor who is a liar, because some professors are great, some professors are liars. When a professor like Simon Elliott lies for political reasons, I even give him a name, Simon Elliott, and who knows for what other reason, notoriety, selling books. When they do that, now you have an army of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that can go unite all together, do research, and then because it's a lie, it's easy to debunk. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's why we go with the consensus of the scientific community, genius. I debunk the lies and pseudoscience of tenured professors all.
I would like to explain now, because he clearly, at this point, I'm going to say back what he's going to say to me in a minute. I think he's scientifically literate and academically literate. Because at the end of the day, that's not how it works. He is presenting a dogmatic view that it's not part of how science works as a method. He says, scientific community makes this statement and you can't challenge it. That's not how it works. Einstein was challenged. A true scientist, a true academic, wants his statements, his theories, his hypotheses to be challenged. It's how it works.
The time. James Tour, Avi Loeb, Dennis Noble.
All right, so now that we have seen this, let's get back to 1/8/29. Science communicator, let's go.
I'm referencing research because I'm a science communicator. It's my job to use science to show the public who is lying about science, whether it's a tenured professor or a high school dropout. I don't discriminate one bit. Graham is a fraud who slanders the entire archaeological community on a regular basis. So why are you getting your panties in a twist that I expose and debunk him? Funny, huh?
He's just some guy who sells bullshit for cash, something which is very well demonstrated by his 2019 book, America Before. This is 600 pages of baseless, outlandish tales regarding lost civilizations having psychic powers, while claiming the ivory tower
Obviously, that's nonsense.
for academics reject his bold new ideas because they're entrenched in dogma and thus resistant to new paradigms. Why would we listen to archaeologists about archaeology instead of some clueless jerk?
He does sound really mad, though. So even if he's making some points that make sense, I mean, yeah, if because again, I have to double check. If he, in his book, did you notice that I said, if it's true that Hancock claims that these people had telekinesis and telepathy, I said if, because I need to double check it. That's how I operate. It's how I've always done it. I don't just take people's words without checking. I check. That's what I do. I research. Book said that they have telekinesis and telepathy, then I would be like, oh, I don't know, man, I'm gonna need proof of that. So I would agree with Professor Dave, but the way he's saying it sounds so angry that I don't know, it's putting me off a little bit. Is it just me?
Sorry, how do I sound so angry? I'm just talking. And why shouldn't I be angry about disgusting frauds who polarize the public against the scientific community for profit? And you're pretending I didn't just show you that the book objectively says what I said it does.
You see? So he says, I put this screenshot. Why are you questioning it? Brother, you're not the ultimate authority, and whatever you say is because you say so. The public, me included, and your audience, doesn't have to just accept your words as gospel. Just because you saw this, who said this? What is this? From what? Where is this from? You didn't show me the book. I need the book, because anyone can manufacture this. I'm not saying differently from you. I'm not calling you a liar differently from you. But I could say, how do I know? Because I don't know where this page is from. It could be someone who twisted it. He changed the meaning. Who knows? So yes, I don't have to just accept something, nor does the public, because you say so. You're not the emperor of the world, and you're definitely not the highest level of academia, as he thinks he is.
You're pretending I didn't just show you that the book objectively says what I said it does. It's nothing but tone policing, even when there is nothing to tone police. He is fabricating out of nowhere that
On the tone policing, by the way, he can speak however he wants. I don't care. At that point, I'm like, yeah, freedom of speech, say whatever you want. On the slanderous stuff, maybe there is a problem there, but it's for those people who are being slandered to consider. I don't particularly care. I'm just sharing something as someone who was watching some of his videos because I was interested. And I literally just said, but it really must have really hurt his feelings. I mean, he must have a little bit of a thin skin at this point. It really hurt his feelings when I said, I don't know, guys. I mean, what he's saying is making sense, but the way he says this stuff kind of putting me a little bit off. That's all I said.
I'm angry and pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts.
That's it. We need to re-listen to this one. That's another thing. That's the lie. And I'm going to show you that he uses now selective editing to manipulate his own audience. Check this out. Look at what he said.
Nowhere that I am angry and pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts I just provided.
So I am using the accusation of calling him angry, or I guess toxic, to discredit the information or the facts that he is presenting, right? You know why his audience would have known that that's not true? It's because at the very beginning of my video about him, when I told you, keep in mind that he is starting the video with a clip of mine where I say the two problems that I have with him. But I told you there was something right before that he removed. He removed it because he wanted to make this statement. Here it is. Generally speaking, for what I've seen up to this point, the quality of the information that this person presents online is pretty good. I said that. He cut it out. The quality on the information that this guy presents is generally good. And I haven't seen too many things that I would disagree with, although then again, I haven't seen too many things that I would disagree with. We checked out a handful of videos. However, there are two problems that and that's the clip that he starts. So he selectively removed from the very clip that he used, so he saw it, it's at the beginning of the stream, he selectively removed the part where I said, I don't disagree with the information. I think generally the information is correct. Why did he do that? To manipulate his audience into believing then this accusation of his. It's
pathetic. And pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts I just provided.
What? How do people even follow this? This is slimy. I thought you were all about the truth. Why did you cut that out? Because you knew that had you left it there, even your audience would have been like, well, I don't know about that, Dave. I mean, he did say that your information is fine for what he saw. So clearly he's not trying to use the fact that you're objectively angry and toxic to discredit the facts. Then he cut it. Professor Dave, ladies and gentlemen, the science communicators.
It's pathetic.
Then we get to the lesser characters, serving somewhat as the comic relief. Dan Richards is a clown who has been cashing in on the pseudo-archaeology grift as of late.
Man, he's going all in, isn't he? I don't know if I'm calling him a clown. I think I like him, but maybe I like him just because I haven't watched many videos. Okay, I like him because of the beard, okay? I think the beard looks awesome. I haven't got a clue. I haven't watched his videos. So I don't know if his information is right, wrong. I think he looks cool, though. I need to form my opinions and watch the videos of Debunking. But Debunking has always been very nice to me. Now, of course, you could tell me, well, what do you mean, Metatron? Someone can just be nice to you and that's all you use as a parameter. But you know, after I've been called a Nazi online, yeah, my bar is pretty low. These days.
Yeah, you definitely need to figure out that Dan is a worthless piece of shit troll. Ever since I humiliated him and his relevance has completely evaporated, he's taken to whining about me on a regular basis and leaving the most pathetic cope comments you've ever seen, where he just calls me fat and dumb repeatedly.
Okay, so calling someone fat and dumb is pathetic according to Professor Dave. Therefore, it follows reason that he surely doesn't call people fat and dumb, right? Because if he did, then wouldn't he also be in the same scenario? Well, he doesn't call people fat. I checked every single video of his. He doesn't call people fat, so I'll give him that. But does he call people dumb? All right, check this out. There are 154 videos on his channel where Professor Dave uses the word dumb to describe his interlocutors or the people that he's debating with or the people that he's having a discussion with or the people that he is talking about multiple times. In blue, this is every single time he calls someone dumb. And more results, guys. More results. Wouldn't that make you pathetic then, Professor Dave? So, Debunking is pathetic because Debunking calls Professor Dave dumb and fat. Okay.
He's human excrement and one of my favorite punching bags.
He doesn't know the first thing about archaeology and is essentially just echoing the talking points of Hancock and other grifters to try and make a buck.
Ooh.
Where Hancock's grift
Okay, let's that's the first red word. I double down on that. Absolutely. And you know that now we're going to move into the gaslighting part, right? Because all I'm saying now is that to me, grifter is a red flag. Why? Well, because people get called grifter all the time, and the reality is that they are not actually grifters, but they just disagree with your position or ideas. That's how a lot of people use the word grifter these days, and it's a fact. So to me, the word grifter has become a red flag. Grifter. First red word, -1 point.
It's not -1 point to refer to grifters as grifters.
Unless you didn't do research on them, right? Because you could be wrong, and then you are calling someone a grifter who wasn't a grifter. And up to this point, I'm not really confident about your ability to be consistent with your terminology.
It's -1 point for you to whine like a toddler about me exposing grifters.
And then when we say here, racism, white supremacists, is it? I'll watch the show. But I'm starting to think, no. When Professor Dave uses racism, he hasn't provided evidence. We need the evidence. We do need the evidence, by the way. We need to stop calling people racist just because, right? And I think I am someone who can speak about this due to the fact that me pointing out the obvious historical fact that, for instance, Cleopatra and her entire family weren't black, that was sufficient for people to call me racist. When I think that in a polite, civilized society, particularly in academic circles, but I would say in the larger, broader spectrum of online discourse, we should stop accusing people of being racist without evidence. Just because, are you saying that you don't like this because you hate people of this specific ethnicity? From the documentary that pushes white supremacy.
Every single defender of Hancock whines about this. They do it to Flint too, when they cry about how Flint called Graham a white supremacist. He didn't. Nobody did. We all continually point out how Graham references white supremacist sources, such as Ignatius Donnelly, which I brought up just before this clip. So he saw me do that and probably just didn't know who that is.
I'll give him that. Yes, I don't know who this is. So I'll give him that. I don't know if this is an actual white supremacist like he's claiming. Once again, I don't take his word for it. But I'm saying, for the sake of argumentation, let's say that this guy was indeed a white supremacist. That doesn't mean that you can't touch what they say, by the way. You know, that's another thing that I want to point out. If we are reviewing information, for instance, some people would say that Julius Caesar was a megalomania criminal, war criminal who performed genocide on the Gauls and other populations. Does that mean that we can't read his sources to try and use them as information? Of course, it's fine. The guy could be a despicable monster, I don't know, but that doesn't make what he says false. The truth remains objective, and I can review, for instance, I mean, there would be half of early archaeology would be gone because of some of the stuff they said, which was objectively racist at that point. But it doesn't matter. I can still read them, and I can still see there is information, as it's probably going to be, that could be used, like, for instance, the state of preservation of early 19th century wall paintings in Egypt in the tomb of Seti I. Some of the archaeologists may have been racist. Who cares? I'm interested in information. The simple fact that someone may be racist doesn't mean that now I have to objectively disqualify their research. I can still read it. I can keep that in mind if needed, but I can still read it because there might still be. If a racist or anyone, a white supremacist, a black supremacist, any form of supremacist, if someone says 1 + 1 = 2, the data is still correct. Whether or not I may want to distance myself from their ideology, that's fine. But it's fine to use the data. I don't have a problem with that.
So he doesn't know that he is objectively a white supremacist. Graham references white supremacist sources, which is why he garners support from white supremacists.
Right, and you, Professor Dave, garner support from the worst the radical left has to offer. The radical, I specifically do say that, the radicals, because of your attitude of toxicity and all of your attacks ad personam, which are usually enjoyed by the people who like this kind of poison, then should I consider you gullible or responsible for the type of audience you have and the kind of comments that they left under my video after you made a section about me? No. No, because these are separate people. separate people. But you're doing this, you're pointing the finger, and he's going to say with me as well, he's going to say, oh, Metatron has accrued an audience of far right, blah, blah. They do this all the time. Apart from the fact it's not true, my audience is mixed. But regardless, it doesn't matter, even if it were the case. Can we look at the objective truth and data, or do we have to keep pointing the finger at each other like clowns and say, oh, but your audience, you've got some crazy people in your audience, so we need to disqualify anything you say?
These are facts. His commentary is meaningless as he does not possess the relevant facts, yet acts smug and judgmental anyway, as though I must be wrong because he doesn't like the way I am
So I'm smug. And I was saying, like, hey, to his credit, I don't consider myself to be better than him. I'm the smug one. Goodness gracious, self-awareness minus 50.
presenting information.
It's not controlling the narrative.
Oh, you're saying, how is he a professor? He has a bachelor degree. He's not even admitted it. I already found those videos. I didn't want to present them here because I'm not that interested in attacking his character. He's not a professor. He's just a handle. He created that handle for the YouTube. It was a joke. It was a thing like, oh, you know, people call me professor because I like teaching things, so we just use that word. It's not professor in the American sense, meaning someone who teaches at a university with a high-level degree. He's not a professor in that sense. But I'm not interested in, I didn't prepare a section about that like I've seen other people that attack him that do, because to me that doesn't matter. I think people know I'm not the Archangel Metatron. Or am I? And so it's fine. I don't care. I call myself Metatron, call yourself Professor. I don't care about that. I'm interested in the arguments and the logical fallacies that he's using and the poison in the well and the red herring and the ad hominem attacks. He literally used a litany, a veritable cornucopia of all sorts of intellectually dishonest logical fallacies. That's what I'm interested in. But no, he's not a professor. If we really have to say that, he's not a professor.
To push back on fraudulent claims because science is not a narrative. It's an empirical process.
I agree. Oh, I wish, Professor Dave, I really wish. I agree that that's what science should be, see? And if by science we go a little even into the all the sectors, history, linguistics, language, all the sectors, then I'm going to say that's what it should be, but it really isn't. People flash their degrees. That's a fact that I'm saying. Then they push nonsense.
The science-illiterate non-scientist is giving a lecture about what science should be.
You see, earlier on, he denied that he's the one sort of gatekeeps. And he's going to continue denying it. He said, I never said it, that unless you have a degree, you can't speak about something. And yet that's the second time he does it. He did it on the original video that I was reacting to, and he reinforced the same concept right now. He said, well, Metatron is scientifically literate. Also, how do you know? But whatever. Metatron is scientifically literate, and yet he's telling us about science. Okay, so you are gatekeeping and saying who should be allowed to talk about subjects. You're exactly doing that, just like I had. So my initial statement and assessment was correct.
It will never not be pathetic when these morons do this. He couldn't science his way out of a paper bag, but all the scientists are flashing degrees and pushing nonsense because
Okay, that one was funny. I'll give him that.
he says so. Got it.
The debate is 4.5 hours long, so
Yeah.
we're not going to go through every last moment. But given that this is the centerpiece of this fiasco, we do need to spend a good amount of time here. So let's dive in.
Okay, and that's the part that we get to that I demonstrated, that he says that it's not true, that I'm lying when it comes to getting the copyright claim. I already showed it on screen that I did get a copyright claim precisely on that, and so his accusation of me lying was false. Is he gonna say that again? Challenge to you. Are you gonna admit that you were wrong about that? It was on the screen, Professor Dave. Are you gonna admit it, Professor? A dedicated video later.
Not enough to form a complete...
Oh yeah. Let me show that. All right. Okay. And particularly on the quality of the information he presents. I said I don't know. I still haven't formed my idea on the quality of the information he presents. Although at this point I'm gonna say the quality on the information he parrots because he doesn't do research. Watch more videos. I might make a dedicated video later.
Not enough to form a complete opinion? That's funny because you titled this video, Professor Dave is Toxic.
And you proved me right by how toxic you were during this entire video about me. Well, the section about me. So yeah, I guess I was right.
So you don't have a complete opinion, but it's complete enough to make this bullshit clickbait title, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I said I don't have a... Look how he shifts the post. I said I don't have a complete opinion on the quality of his information. But on him being toxic, oh, absolutely I have a complete opinion. And as you can see, he proved me right. He proved me right.
Right, asshole?
But for what I can see up to this point, he seems really angry. And he he has lost some credibility because complete loss. Like he has no credibility after this video. Zero. I proved everything. Everything. I came with receipts. Everything is proven. At this point, I have to believe he's jealous about the hair. Well, maybe. I don't know. But what's funny is that I showed everything on screen. So at this point, unless you're like literally a cultist, even if you're someone who really hates my guts, what I'm expecting from people of a certain intelligence is to say, man, I hate Metatron. I wish it wasn't the case, but man, he really demolished him. I did. It's the truth. This is like credibility under zero now with Dave. I demonstrated he doesn't know what he's talking about when he makes strongly confident claims with a layer of arrogance on top of them. Unfortunately, it appears to be one of those people that will use racist, white supremacist, and also this idea that if you have credentials, you're not supposed to be challenged, or that people should not be allowed to make their own mind or be exposed to both sides of the coin. No, that's very dangerous. Yep.
You're whining about me calling out racism and white supremacy.
Yes.
Jimmy Corsetti is racist. He's
Anecdotal. I don't care you take one person. I haven't got a clue if Jimmy Corsetti is racist or not. I don't know. You'll tell me. You chat, I mean. Definitely I'm not going to listen to this guy. However, yeah, I said that you called people racist and that's something I don't appreciate, and you give me one example. Even if I were to grant, for discourse sake, let's say that Jimmy Corsetti and his audience also, his entire audience, but let's say that Jimmy Corsetti is racist for whatever reason. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying for the sake of argumentation. That's one. How many times should we ask then, does he use this? How about we write racist and look through his entire channel? There we go. 22 videos. In 22 videos.
Blatantly racist comments, and is generally Graham being called racist, which
what you said about Eminem is racist as
Okay.
Were they racist as well?
He's
That
a
one wasn't him.
racist douchebag who makes
Okay.
a living lying about
Let me hear it-
archaeology. He's a
let me hear it
racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag who makes a living.
You do call people racist all the time, and giving me one example doesn't change the fact that my statement was in fact apt. So yeah, there's that. But please, let's continue.
Spews genuinely anti-Semitic rhetoric frequently, and so do his racist followers. Graham references white supremacist sources, which brings him support from white supremacists. And nowhere did I ever say that people with credentials shouldn't be challenged.
What? We saw it twice. He said it. He said Graham Koch doesn't have an archaeology degree, so he shouldn't. Why is he speaking about archaeologists? He's pathetic. And then he said about me, why this scientifically literate moron is telling us about science. It's exactly what you say. The only difference is that you take exception to yourself. So you don't want other people to challenge those who have degrees in whatever subjects. Also, you don't know what degrees I have or my team. My team is highly prepared when it comes to that. We've got postdoctoral degrees at this point, but whatever. You say, no, you can't do it, but I can, and here is why. That's not how science works, science communicator.
Given the fact that I regularly debunk the shit out of lying frauds who are
I know, because you take exception for yourself.
more credentialed than I am. And people are constantly exposed to both sides of the coin, given all the frauds pushing pseudoscience all over the internet that I debunk. It seems like you're upset that I'm defending the factual side of the coin. Epic fail, Metatron. You have nothing but sensationalist clickbait. But in general, this conservative cry-bully attitude of getting upset when bigotry is called out is beyond pathetic.
No, it's just a you call bigotry. Let me check that one. I want to see how many times he calls bigots. Let's see. Let's do it. Entire channel. Bigot. Let's see. I thought this was going to be more annoying, but in fact, it's actually funny. Only 10 times. I got to give it to him. I was expecting more. Bigot.
Pivot to culture war bullshit, to worthless bigot transphobe, worthless bigot transphobe, worthless bigot transphobe. Joe is a worthless bigot.
Okay.
bigot is a sin.
Bigot.
Just another bigot.
Bigot.
Bigot, probably.
Ooh, this is a combo. It's dumb bigot. So I thought he said that it was pathetic when people call him dumb, and yet he does a double thing. It's dumb bigot. As usual, rules don't apply to Professor David. They only apply to the plebs in his position, in his idea. Next. I absolutely despise the word bigot now. Yeah, because they use it. I do despise the word bigot. on everyone. It's so annoying. When I hear someone say, bigots, I'm like, okay, never mind. Someone else. Move along. True.
You disregard absolutely everybody who uses the word bigot, so anyone can be a...
I didn't say disregard now, did I? I just said it annoys me. I didn't say disregard. Man, this guy does not know how to steal, man. It's continuous straw, man. It's almost exhausting at one point. And yeah, it's the same thing. You have, Professor Dave, the exact attitude towards people who use the word woke. Okay? Let's be honest about this. So, here we are.
Piece of shit bigot, and if someone calls them out for it, they're to be disregarded. What a solid position you have going
Not my position at all. Strawman Dave.
there. This is precisely the kind of gaslighting I'm talking about. This has the same energy as when we used to refer to a woman as hysterical when she would report the sexual and physical abuse she was suffering.
What does that even... It's disgusting that you would do, because that is a serious situation. Like about not believing someone who truly had, if they did have that kind of experience, because some women lie, but let's say someone who did have that kind of experience, then that's despicable that you would compare the two.
Pay no attention, she's in hysterics, so they just medicate her and
He is actually hysteric, though. Dave is quite hysterical.
keep systematically beating and raping her.
I wonder if he identifies as a woman at this point, because he does act a bit like a liberal woman.
Similarly, Trump can do
Okay, so now he's going to go into politics. I think that was my section. Now, to finish this off, guys, the problem is that Dave wants you to believe that he is a science communicator. Here's the problem, though, Dave. If you want people to consider you a science communicator, act like one and talk like one, present like one. He doesn't. So in reality, what he is someone who wanted to be a science communicator, a languages communicator. He's got a series on Latin, but those videos didn't get views, which I sympathize. I struggle with the algorithm all the time. So he had a massive incentive, because he noticed that when he vomits poison on people at a decent constant speed, which of course means he doesn't do any research, as he said, then those videos get a lot of views, which translate into a lot of money. That's fine. Do it. Get the bag at this point. But the problem is this. You are now an entertainer to the radical, toxic left. That's what you are. That's it. You're not a science communicator. How do I know? Look at how, during what was supposed to be an intellectual debate on chemistry, look at what he does when his introductory presentation about the other speaker. He's going to attack his arguments, right? Because that's what a science communicator does. Attacking arguments, right? Let's go.
His embarrassing commentary takes place exclusively on YouTube or in-person events for science-illiterate Christians who share his biases and delusions.
Science-illiterate Christians. He hates Christians, by the way. So if you're a Christian, I strongly suggest to unsubscribe.
Jim's clueless ramblings do not even remotely resemble primary scientific literature. Idiotic. We will get to James fumbling the science in a moment, but first it is important to establish that James is a brazen liar. This is the dumbest straw man in history. Well, he reveals a level of incompetence that is shocking for someone of his stature. In his profound ignorance, can't even read a 13C NMR spectrum, something he should have learned as an undergrad. The idea that James can't do something that an undergrad could do is astounding, and whether his brain ceases to function when examining this research, or he is deliberately lying to a gullible audience with no clue what he's talking about, his credibility is reduced to zero with this example alone. He is a toxic individual and pathological liar who actively promotes science denial and slanders diligent researchers. He made that up, like a liar. This hurt James so badly.
Does that sound like a science communicator to you?
Viewers can't read, so they just ate up the fabricated story. Pretty dumb lie to tell. I think we can all agree that we are establishing the pathological nature of his lying. Well, then you're blind.
And now he says, I can't even make the RNA.
Who cares? You lied about this. Look, my God.
Okay, so at the very end of this disgusting demonstration of how to be a troll, this guy made this question, and I'm going to finish this part of the stream with this, then I'm going to read the super chats. Look at the question this guy has.
Is one thing that they admire about each other's scientific career.
Let me start. This man has said multiple times that I have called him stupid. I have never called him stupid because I don't think he's stupid. I have said he's clueless on this topic. I have said he cannot read the scientific literature. That doesn't mean stupid. This man has become a musician, and then he went out, and in 2015, he started an educational site, which is huge. Stupid people can't do that. I admire him. This is an educational site, and I have never called him stupid because He's not stupid. He's not stupid. So I admire him for his educational side. And from what I understand, I'm not a musician. From what I understand, what people have said, he's an excellent musician. I admire him for that as well. His wife is here. He's a father. He has 2 children. I admire that a man can have a wife and 2 children and stay married and do these things.
Okay, so that's a beautiful thing to say. At this point, even if he was wrong on the science, which I don't know because I don't know chemistry, but even if he was wrong on the science, I would at least admire him for the intellectual integrity. If someone says this about you after you have insulted them for the entirety of the presentation, how would you react if you had even a modicum of dignity? Let's see.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. I admire that.
I admire the tenacity with which you stick to a script of lies. It's actually quite impressive.
Okay, so now we have just, and with that, I'm going to say, Professor Dave, your credibility is now 0. Not only that, but you have the morality of a troglodyte, and I would more gladly spend an entire month with a Denisovan or a Neanderthal than you, because you have no decency, no moral, no honor, no truth, no respect for the truth. And you're just a bully with the ego the size of a mountain. Oh, and let me add in Sicilian, te si minchia.